This is Walt Disney World Today. Give us 5 minutes and we'll give you the world.
It's Monday, February 5th, 2007, and this is episode 214 of Walt Disney World Today. I'm Matt Hochberg from GMCnews.org. On the show today is Mike Newell of Mouse World Radio. Welcome, Mike.
Oh, that was some game last night, wasn't it?
Oh, boy, that team that won really played well.
They sure
did. Boy, that MVP was great. I really enjoyed that game.
He deserved it. He really did.
Yeah, what a great game. Also on the show today is Mike Scopa of MousePlanet.com. Welcome, Mike.
Jumpin' jellyfish.
He's going to start saying, like...
Jumpin' Yemeni! My nerves are shot. How do I get myself into these situations? Teenagers, give them an inch, they swim all over you. What is that girl up to?
Voyage of the Little Mermaid.
There you go, baby.
Who's that supposed to be?
Sebastian.
Wow.
What kind of voice? Yumpin' Yemeni?
I thought he was Jamaican, not Jewish. I thought... Oi, with the fins and the claws and the jumping and the water and the humans, oi! Len, he came out of the Red Sea or whatever the sea is over there. The Red Sea? With the jumping and the hair and the humans and the fish and the walking.
And also on the show today is Len Testa, co-author of the Unofficial Guide to Walt Disney World. Welcome, Len.
Speaking of the game, Matt, I'm still upset about that call in the third quarter. I thought that really
wasn't that bad?
Changed the momentum of the game.
It sure did.
Yeah. And we have back for another show, Fred Block of MagicMeats.com. Welcome, Fred.
All hail the New York Giants!
He's channeling Jimmy Hoffa there.
Oh, gosh, I just don't have it, I guess.
Oh, yeah. Lord.
Punch out, Fred.
Yeah, okay. Oh, Fred just dropped. Anyway.
On today's show, we've actually, this is from one of our listeners. It comes from Jim from Denver, who writes, Fellows, my wife and I take a 5 or 6 day trip to Walt Disney World every year for the past 6 or 7 years. We usually work it to arrive at the resort in the early afternoon. We've put together a good arrival day plan to get in the flow of the Disney magic. The short of it is that we go to the Magic Kingdom just after we drop our carry-on bags in the hotel and get a nice late dinner at the California Grill, Bistro de Paris, or somewhere similar. Between the vibe of the Magic Kingdom and a good meal, it really sets the tone for the entire vacation. The problem is the last day. I've been able to book the evening flights back, so we always have the day to ourselves. We check out of the hotel and drop off our bags with the bell stand. We've tried different things like hitting downtown Disney, going back to the parks, having a late character breakfast, afternoon tea at the Garden View Tea Room, and playing miniature golf. None of these really have felt like a good cool down from a week of magic. Do you have any last day rituals that you like to do? Well, last day, it's true because, if you have an annual pass, the easy answer is just go to the parks and whatever.
Yeah.
Personally, after my trip, I've usually woken up every morning pretty early, and it's, it catches up to you as much as I like Disney.
Said, where the hell am
I? So I like to sleep in. I like to.
Where are my clothes? I'm sorry. Go ahead. Yeah. What's this cheesecake doing here?
And where's my kidneys?
Where are my kidneys?
Or even the question that you never want to hear come out of your mouth. Who are you?
Oh, God.
Scopa, what are you doing in my house?
So what do you like to do on their last day?
How am I going to get home? Go ahead.
Len, what do you like to do on your own?
Actually, what I like to do, this sound kind of crazy, but usually when I'm there for 6 or 7 days, the thing I like to do on the last day is go to the downtown Disney or the West Side and see a movie, because by that time I'm just so over being in the theme parks by then that I just have to go back and see some other entertainment, sit quietly, which is really funny because they're both passive, forms of passive entertainment. You're sitting there and someone's showing you something, you're not really interacting, but just to get out and walk around and sort of sit in a relatively quiet theater in the middle of the day is really peaceful.
Fred, what do you like to do?
I'm going to kind of go along with Len's theme here and catch lunch before we head to the airport. So yeah, it's our cool down day to try to deal with the fact that we have to go to the airport and fly home.
Well, it sounds like Len, myself, and Fred, we all take it easy. Scope, but I've got the And for some reason, I'm sensing that you're going to say the opposite, and you're going to say that it's just another day for you. You go all at it and have, go with whatever you had. You have a full day planned for the remaining portion you have there. Is that true?
Wait a minute, that took a long time for you to get that out. But you are wise beyond your years, Grasshopper. Yes, the last day is usually when we used to go like every other year or so. It was always a big thing to make sure that we went through our ritual at the end of the last day, and we usually spent our day in the Magic Kingdom. And the last attraction that we normally would do would be Pirates of the Caribbean. That would be the first one we would do, and that would be the last one we would do on all our trips. And now it's a little bit different. Like if I'm going down there on a solo trip, or like if I'm by myself, I'll go to either Epcot or Magic Kingdom, and I'll probably stay in the park until it's completely empty and I'm the last person being escorted out the park. I just don't want to leave. I want to have the castle all to myself, or if I'm in Epcot, I want World Showcase Lagoon all to myself, and try to just take it all in, because most of the time, like Glenn said, you're running around, you get too much of the parks, and you don't get a chance to really sit down, smell the roses, take a breather, and really soak in all the atmosphere. And I think for a lot of people, we just take it for granted until it's the last day, and then we say, "Oh my God, we're almost out of here. Let's soak it in." So that's what I do.
Newell, what about you? More camera shops and
No. Camera shops are closed at 5:30 when I get up in the morning, because I'm usually on the 8 o'clock flight home. I like to get home early. This way I can. Yeah, I'm home by 12:30, 1 o'clock. This way I can do laundry and relax for the rest of the day, because I'm usually flying home on Sunday and back to work on Monday. So
you brought up a good point, Newell. I was gonna ask the next question. I was gonna ask all you guys is, you guys tend to get early flights that like you're out by early afternoon at the latest, or do you like try to find the latest flight possible home? Fun?
Good question.
Generally.
I don't generally go for the first flight out in the day, because at that point I'm just wasting a room at night. I would just take the last flight out the night before. So usually it's something like around 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock, where I can get a morning's work in, sober up, and and then find my pants and head for the airport.
Scope.
When I'm flying down or when I'm flying back, I like to take the first or second flight out, because if you wait till the late afternoon, early evening, late evening, if there's some delays all day, then most of the time it's going to have a domino effect, and you're going to get a late. Your flight's going to be a lot later. I like to make the break early in the morning. The last two trips, Mousefest and Marathon, I was on my way to MCO at around 6:30 in the morning. I got home about midday, like Mike.
Wow. Fred, you got to milk your vacation for all it's worth and take the last flight out, right?
No, actually, we tend to take like a 2 or 3 o'clock flight. We used to take later flights. Unfortunately, Continental just can't get their act together, and we almost always get delayed. So that's one of the reasons why we do a half a day where we kind of like relax, and then we usually have a 2 or 3 o'clock flight out, back to Newark, New Jersey, that is.
What do you do, Matt?
I always go for the last flight possible. Something that'll get me back in the evening, somewhere between 6 and 10 p.m. And that way, I just like to have that sleeping in. That's key. Because I don't know how, Newell, you can do that. Because I know you get like that 6 a.m. flight back.
Oh, jeez, really?
Yep.
He always takes like that weird flight back in the morning.
You like to sleep in, huh, Mike?
I usually go to bed. I usually fall asleep around 1:30, and then it's up at 5:30. Still pitch dark. I'm the only one loading up the car.
Well, you don't take Magical Express, do you?
No.
Fred, do you take Magical Express or do you rent a car?
No, we typically we'll either do a town car or we'll rent a car.
Yeah, see, I've been doing Magical Express, and let me tell you something. It's like the bus to hell, because everyone's on there and depressed. No one wants to be going back. They're all tired. And no one's happy anymore. Like if you take Magical Express to Disney, everyone is the happiest,
Woo!
son of a gun that you've ever seen. They're just like, woo! Everyone's nice to you, and there it's just like, seats taken. No, back in the bus.
Okay, Forrest.
Magic's over, pal.
Exactly.
That's why Forrest Gump
Screw you
reference.
people. Yeah.
You'd probably be better off taking a hearse back to the airport.
Yeah, I mean it's just depressing on that bus but no, I can't imagine what it's like. If Newell takes that bus, because they come 3 hours before your flight. So if you've got 6 a.m. flight, they're coming for you at 3 o'clock in the morning.
No
I
way.
mean, ugh.
I once was doing hotel research, and I ended up at the yacht club, and on the last night I was just running so far behind, and I ended up back at the hotel at like 2 or 2:30 in the morning, and I didn't get the hotel room inspection done until like 4:30, and my flight was at 6:30 back to Greensboro, and I remember staggering out of it was me and Christina. I remember staggering out of the yacht club at 4:45 in the morning. I wearing the same clothes from the day before. I literally just crammed everything into the suitcase. I'm literally like walking out the door like I'm done with this hotel room. I didn't even sleep in it. I probably paid like $400 for it for the night just to get the room inspection done. That was crazy. But I can't do that anymore. I mean, you're just wasted the whole rest of the day.
Yeah, it's a lot. So what do we? Jim wants suggestions for things to do. What do you think are some good ideas? Besides, I think we all, except for Newell, all agree that waking up, sleeping in a little bit. Do we like going and have a nice big breakfast or?
I had a really good breakfast with some coffee in the morning. I had a decent breakfast at Spoodles in December with Hanny and Dawn. That's nice. But I like to get out and do miniature golf. Opens at 11. Go do miniature golf. Go to downtown Disney. Go see a movie. Something else. I like those ideas.
Scopa?
I would say do something decadent, that like go to Beaches and Cream and have a No Way Jose, or just treat yourself to something that you normally wouldn't do. You don't go to Disney that often. It's your last day. Make it significant by doing something that you normally wouldn't do, like treating yourself to a decadent dessert or something like that.
Yeah, I like going to downtown Disney, going to the World of Disney. Anything that you missed throughout the course of the vacation, you can pick that up there. You can find some other gifts over there, and it's just I like what store I really like over there, Len? I'm sure you've been there. That the $10 and under store they have over there.
Yeah.
It's really just like a glorified hallway of stuff from the last holiday, but you get some decent deals over there.
That's not bad.
Noel, what do you think? Are you you did your shopping in the beginning of the trip, didn't you?
I usually go to downtown Disney and the marketplace the first day. Before I even check into the hotel, I usually stop there, have lunch, and do all the shopping there.
See, I want to get to the hotel, get checked in, and get to the parks.
The problem is I usually take the 8 o'clock flight out, so I'm usually landing at 10:30 or so. I'm not getting to the resort. No, in the morning.
AM.
So the rooms are, especially at DVC, those rooms usually tend to be ready very late in the day. So I usually have to wait.
Let me ask Fred, as a parent that doesn't not neglect their children, like some people here. What's a good last day activity for you that would work for the kids?
Actually, that's a great question, and one of the things that was just said is everybody gets so excited when you arrive at Disney that you kind of tend to forget that you're staying at a themed hotel in most cases. And one of the things we do on our last day is we do like a hidden Mickey hunt. We also explore around the hotel, learn more facts about the hotel, and in most cases for us it's Wilderness Lodge or Animal Kingdom Lodge. So there's so much to do at the hotel, and then that way you're not worrying about bus transportation or driving anywhere until your town car comes to get you, or you just drive back to the airport.
Yeah, Fred, that's a great point. I mean, Animal Kingdom Lodge, where you and I both stayed there for Mouse Fest, and it was, I remember now, that's what we did on our last day over there. We had a Savannah View room, so we were looking out at the animals, and we went down to the, to the area down at the back of the hotel, on the ground level over there, and watched the Savannah and the animals. And that, I'm sure Wilderness Lodge has something equivalent like that. That's a great suggestion. If you're staying there, or if you're not, it's a good opportunity to go take a ride over there.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And then it's not a high pressure thing to do, and you get to relax and probably catch a lot of pictures that you wouldn't have normally taken when you were in a rush to go from park to park or to a dinner reservation or something.
How cranky do your kids get at the end of a trip? Does it matter, or is it like longer trips? It's really bad, but shorter trips it's not so much.
You said
gotta be-
kids,
I
not
gotta-
wife, right?
Yeah, that's a good question. Actually, my kids.
Fred, does your wife listen to the show?
No.
Oh, yeah, go ahead then. I'm
Go
sorry.
ahead.
A lot of my kids have been going to Disney since they were both very young, and I mean, they're 6 and 2, so I mean, my 6-year-old has been there 18 or 19 times since she's been born. So I mean, they're really used to it. They don't really get affected by our last day. I would say the worst time to deal with children is when they're tired. And they tend to get tired.
Is when they're young.
Under 18.
First time to deal with children is when they're young.
You know, like when you're doing a long day at the park, you know, you really can't fit in a whole long day because they start to get tired and grumpy, and that, you know, you gotta face that and realize, well, we're not going to be able to do the rest of our park day, and we have to leave. And you know, as long as you're good with that, and you base your schedule around your kids, you tend to enjoy your vacation a lot more because it's low stress.
Len, how's Hanny? Is she a complainer or a trooper?
She's usually a trooper. It's only after a couple of days, straight where she won't. She starts to complain. But I mean, first couple days.
She's got to be, ready. She's got to be bright and bushy-tailed for that whole wonderful car trip through Georgia, where you're going to show her all the stuff in, in an hour.
Exactly. That's why we did it at night when she was asleep. And I'm not above a Benadryl cocktail. Night, Henny.
Well,
wait, I think social services is at the door. Hold on one second.
Well, that's it for us today. If you want to find older episodes, read our show notes, or send us your comments, visit the Walt Disney World Today website at www.today.com. For Len Testa, Mike Scopone, Mike Newell, and Fred Block, I'm Matt Hodgeberg. We'll see you on the next show.